So welcome everyone to this full moon in Scorpio happening today on the 12th of May, 2025. It's happening at 5:55 p.m. my time, Casablanca time, and 4:55 p.m. UTC, which means it has happened a little more than an hour ago, as in exact and totally full. Before we start, I wanted to give you some themes about the general energies that we are going through at the moment that I think are worth speaking about a little bit before we engage into the reading for this full moon. One thing that is happening in a very strong and very important way at the moment is a big shift in consciousness. I know we are, and you know too, that we are on a wave of shifting consciousness at the humanity scale. But this one is, imagine like a jump to another quantum level where there's a real difference that one can notice from one day to another or from one moment to the next. And please bear that in mind because that can be experienced in sudden realizations, or all of a sudden some habits just disappear, or some understandings of certain situations just go away and just vanished without even provoking any form of attachment or anything, which is more the case when we try to heal something. Then we have to struggle with the existing and detach from that. In what is happening at the moment, it's literally, it was there, it's no longer there, and you continue on your path on another level. So that's very, very beautiful and very, very interesting, because I don't know if we ever experienced that before. A corollary of that, in parallel, it's like we have better access to our dreams, not only in unpacking them, getting access to the dreams that are, sometimes buried deep within. Sometimes they are apparent and it's easier to see. But some of the things that maybe we put under the carpet because we, at some point in our lives, we believed that it wasn't possible, or it wasn't accessible to us, or it wasn't for us, or it would be shameful to do certain things, whatever it is. Then we have like a new access to that with fresh eyes, so that we can decide once again whether that dream is valid, whether we want to go through with it, whether we want to experience and materialize it. And that's a very lovely and very empowering energy that is floating around at the moment. And another corollary of this shift of consciousness is liberation. It's what I spoke about earlier, about feeling that some attachments, they just disappear, they vanish, and that liberates our capacity to act, which is incredible, because things that might have seemed complicated, we didn't have time, it's hard to fit in the diary, etc., all of a sudden our energy is completely focused towards this thing, and we move through things and we make them progress at the speed of light almost. So a lot of positive things. It can be a little bit disorientating because it's really sudden, and I think we're really used to suffering in general. When we talk about our own personal evolution, it's usually not necessarily a speedy process. It's rather slow than fast. And with what is happening right now, it's just like, it's almost like, oh, that's an old age almost. So that's what I wanted to talk about before we get into the full moon. So full moon for the newbies, or just to remind ourselves, full moons are a culmination of a cycle. So this is the maximum of the cycle of the moon. It's a time of heightened emotions, a time which means we can be much more sensitive than usual. Some moons are taking more emotions than others, but full moons in general make us more sensitive. Some people can lose sleep or sleep less, etc. And what it is inviting us to do as a culmination of a cycle, as it's going to start waning towards the new moon, is to shed what is no longer necessary for the process that brought us up to this point, up to here, to continue in a lean way, let's say, towards renewal for the new moon. Once again, I want to pause for a second to just point out something that I think is important to remember. Because these alignments that we're doing every couple of weeks with the new moon and full moon are full of information from the stars, from the conjunctions, from what is happening in the sky and the current energies, etc. But I want us to remember that just the cycle of the moon, regardless of any extra information, is a potent way to align our energies, to ground us, and to align our energies with whatever is happening. Suppose you have no idea what's happening on a full moon or on a new moon. Just the fact that you are aligning your cycles, your actions, I'm not saying organizing your entire life around that, but to have a consciousness of this cycle and to ride that wave is extremely beneficial, because then we are riding a current that is happening anyway. So instead of spending energy doing stuff in a disorganized manner, which is not disorganized from a mind perspective, from the pursuit of our objectives, but disorganized in terms of alignment with earth energies, our planet, our host where we live, and what is an extension of us and of which we are an extension. So it's a simple, let's say, little thing to have in the mind, to just pay attention to those cycles and know that. So the new moon is where we start things. So you start a diet, it's better to start it at the new moon, because then you have that energy of growth that is going to help you with your project. And then comes the full moon, something culminates, and you need to re-examine where you are with whatever projects you're doing, whatever is happening, and say, okay, how far have I come, and what can go, and how do I go to the next phase until we get to the new moon once again. Like the tree that shed their leaves in autumn, and then to be reborn again in spring. And it's the same cycle in contracted 4 weeks. So yeah, it's about getting into the flow of nature and getting into the rhythm of Earth, which the direction in which we are evolving is not only requiring, it's going to be like, that's how it's going to be, really. So the earlier we get used to it, and also the earlier we join that movement, the more of us are attuned to those cycles, the more it raises the wave, if you see what I mean. So it's good for us, but it's good for the collective as well. And yes, today is a very special full moon. It's the Wesak festival, one of the most 3 important full moons of the year. There's the one that was last month, Festival of Easter, that is related to the love of God, to the Christ energy. This one is related to Buddha. It's called Buddha's moon, and it is related to the expression of the wisdom of God and the embodiment of light. And the next one, which is the third one, this trinity of important full moons in the year, is called the Festival of Goodwill. It's related to, so it happens when the sun is in Gemini, and it's related to the spirit of humanity, and it's connected to attuning to the will of God. So, and it is about human relations, Gemini. So, if you notice, these represent one of the two trinities of the I Am: love, wisdom, and will. And we'll see how this full moon is going to help us move forward with these energies, with this trinity. It is said that during Wesak, Christ, Buddha, and the masters, they gather in Himalayas, in the axis of the world, Pisces Virgo, to help with the evolution of humanity. So it's the time of great connection, of great benevolence, of light. And I'm not that surprised that if any big shift of consciousness was to happen, it would happen at this moment. For sure, we'll have more. But this one is pretty sweet. Okay. So this moon is happening at 22 degrees and 12 minutes of Scorpio. Scorpio, water sign, emotional aspect of the Trinity of Water, fixed sign, and ruled by Mars and Pluto, mainly Pluto, but Mars is its ancient ruler, so it counts for Scorpio. Its attributes or qualities are related to death, transformation, to intensity, to money, especially money of others, to secrecy, to sexuality, to secrets, things that are deeply hidden. Imagine a Scorpio in the mud. It's that sort of vibe, if you want. And it's associated with the excretory system in the body, which eliminates toxins. Remember that. There's many little pieces of information that kind of get together and just fit in together into this moon, and you'll understand why these little bits are important. Scorpio is, I would say, it's the alchemist of the zodiac, because it's the one that transforms those pulsions, those fiery pulsions that are brought by Mars and Pluto, the two planets of fire. When it is in balance and when it achieves its purpose as a Scorpio, it transforms that into wisdom, into personal wisdom and personal spirituality. So it transmutes the toxicity of those pulsions into the divine, into the sublime, where the Scorpio turns into the ego. So that's a very, very important concept to have in mind for this full moon, that ability to transmute and to just rise above so many, let's say, not uncontrollable, but very potent things, and to learn how to transform that into something higher. The mantra of Scorpio is I desire, and that also plays a really important role in that the desires that we have, what I was saying earlier about the dreams, that these are our desires. They're very important in this moon. So I would say the key message for this moon would be there's radical change that's on the menu that you can choose to embrace or not, to jump into or not. So check with yourself what you want to do. We have a very tense aspect between a finger of God. It's called the Yod, or the finger of God, that is involving the moon at its peak, and Jupiter and Chiron. Jupiter is in Gemini. Chiron is still in Aries. So what happens with this geometry is that Jupiter pulls or pushes for expansion in the sign of I think, so new ideas, new ways to see, etc. And Chiron, the wounded healer, the one that is wounded, disempowered, is in the sign of the I am, and beaming its energy as well to the moon. So you have these two conflicting or contradicting energies that are almost like demanding reconciliation via the moon in Scorpio. I think I'm going to say 2 words about Chiron so that you understand who that is and its attributes, because it plays an important role. Chiron is a centaur. He's called the wounded healer. It's a planet that, an exoplanet that has a very strange orbit around the sun that is kind of off-center a little bit because it's influenced by Saturn. That also is an important piece of information. Saturn is structure and data and time, sorry. And it bears the information about our deepest wounds, including the ancestral wounds that we carry. So it speaks about the inner conflicts that we have that we haven't been able to resolve yet. And Chiron is the son of Kronos, that's Saturn, and a nymph called Hydra. It's a serpent. It's a sea serpent. And the interesting characteristic of Chiron is it was a very different centaur from all the others. All other centaurs were violent and mean with humans, and he was the only one who was kind and taught humans and mentored them. He's one of the mentors of Hercules, for example, and many others. So he mentored heroes, if you see what I mean. And I think he illustrates that ability to also to transform the wound into the wisdom that is required from us by Scorpio. So 2 opposing forces: expansion and woundedness that are demanding a resolution through the moon. New ideas on the one hand with Jupiter, expansion into our incarnation. We're in the body realm yet in the zodiac. New models, new ways to live, new structures, new systems, but not any systems. New systems based on brotherhood, reciprocity. Remember, Gemini is the constellation that speaks about 2 brothers, one mortal, one immortal, that were reunited in the sky because they loved each other so much that the immortal didn't want to leave his brother alone, the mortal brother alone. So, and the moon speaks about our intimacy, our own deepest self. So how do we find reconciliation into that for that? Well, first of all, through, as we said earlier, the transmutation, the alchemization of the conflicts, of the wounds, of the things, the conflicts we haven't resolved, and find the way to alchemize that and rise above it and resolve. And in that way, we connect with the wisdom of Chiron, and we're ready for the expansion that Jupiter is pulling us towards. And to help us with that, this is where the fact that it's the Wesak moon is beautiful, because then we have the sun, which is by design opposing the moon, like in every full moon. And the sun is consciousness. And today we have the masters, Buddha, Christ, and many, many others standing for the advancement of all of us. So we have with us the wisdom of God, and at a much more subtle layer, we have Wesak is governed by the master Sanat Kumara. And Sanat Kumara is the master of the first ray, which is the ray of divine will and power. So not only we have help through the wisdom that is brought by the masters on the world axis, but also the help of the first ray. So just take a moment and let the amount of help that we have to progress sink in. Sanat Kumara is also responsible for the development of the planetary consciousness. So it's definitely related to not only our evolution on Earth as a humanity, but also our evolution, the evolution of our consciousness. So, okay, what do we do now with all of that? How do we work with that? The best way to do it, I would say, or one way to do it rather, if we tap into the energies that are being activated by the stars tonight and a little bit before, a little bit after today, is to really have the courage and the power and the will to go deep within and surrender going to the deepest. You can take the picture of, you allow yourself, you're swimming in the ocean and you allow yourself to float, and then there's a moment where you sink and you allow yourself to go to the bottom of the sea. Remember, Scorpio, death and rebirth. Pluto, death and rebirth. So it's accepting to die to a certain form that we have and a certain form that we created, and reach that moment of void where we can, through our desires, connecting to the will and what comes from our desires, to create new forms in which we want to live, that we want to experience. So that's personal work. I mean, for sure, you can seek help, you can seek therapists and people to help you, but yeah, that's the work that is required from us. There's an element of surrender that is required. So just allow this to happen, to stop fighting, to be in a fight with existence, and just allow yourself to receive that grace that we're being exposed to. Let me check the time. We have the sun that we just spoke about, that is a conjunct Uranus. It's another sign of radical change. Uranus is the ruler of Aquarius, where Pluto is, and it's the planet of the higher mind. We had Jupiter in Gemini, lower mind, and we have Uranus conjunct the sun, higher mind. It's consciousness, the change of consciousness that is being activated here. Also, I want to expand a little bit on that, about Aquarius and the fact that Uranus, I don't know why I forgot that, is and the fact that Uranus is connected to Aquarius. Aquarius is about vibration. It's about truth. I think I said that before. Vibration is the ultimate truth, because vibration does not lie. You cannot lie through vibration. So this is where we need to anchor ourselves in our truth, the thing that feels totally aligned, totally, where our body, it feels right when we think of something, when we, for example, when we check what our dreams are, like if it's totally aligned, you'll feel it and your vibration will immediately align to that. And you will see, I guarantee you, you will see material signs in your reality. You will see things happening. You will see opportunities open. You will see things that confirm that you are on the right vibration. Of course, then the work is to the work, like act on your desires, of course, but locking in to the vibration of what you're seeking is, I would say, the most efficient and the actual work that we need to learn to do for the new earth, because that's where we're going. So I don't think we have a choice to not be aligned with our truth. It will take whatever time it takes to learn how to do that, but this is the way, I would say. What else? Yes, and as an echo of what I said earlier, we have Mars that is still opposing Pluto, Mars in Leo, and Pluto in Aquarius. Leo, the sign of sovereignty, the sign of the heart, what is really in our heart in the most sincere way. And Pluto in Aquarius, you know, Pluto, transformation, and it's explosive. It requires that change, that deep radical change, so that the truth from the heart can come forth and align the truth from the heart to the higher mind, to the truth. So I would say that rebirth is really our fate at the moment. I really hope most of us will go through it with grace. And for sure, I'm sure it will go gradually for everyone. But the planets as well there's still many planets gathered around the first degree of the zodiac. We have the North Node and Saturn at the very end of Pisces, and Neptune and Venus at the beginning of Aries. And Neptune and Neptune, ruler of Pisces, planet consciousness, and Saturn, structure, time, karma, are going towards each other, and they will be meeting in July. And what's even more extraordinary, next year, on February, they will be meeting at 0 degrees of the zodiac, at the beginning of the wheel of the zodiac, which is big deal. Expressing like the advent and the birth of a new consciousness, of new realities, new structures to support our realities. Okay, 2 little things before we move on to the next bit. Sabian symbol for today. Sabian symbols are, so each degree of the zodiac has a symbol that was downloaded, channeled by a man called Rudyard in the 1920s, 26, 29, I'm not sure, but the early century, last century. And so each degree has a meaning, and the degree where the moon is right now has a following symbol. It's a rabbit metamorphosis into a nature spirit. I don't know if I need to explain that any more than what it says, but clearly we are talking about metamorphosis. So it's not just change, it's from one state to the other. It's the caterpillar that moves in, that becomes a butterfly. nothing to do. Like one just crawls on earth, the other one flies, the one doesn't look necessarily extraordinary, the one is like full of beauty, very light, etc. So sorry, caterpillars, I didn't mean it that way. So yeah, it's two different forms that are completely almost opposite. And something very interesting that one of my favorite astrologers pointed out is that, and I think it's very on point with regards to what we're experiencing today. And I think this image is a really nice anchor for our own transformation and, as a tool to navigate the current energies and the current times. So in caterpillars, there are some dormant cells that carry the blueprint of the butterfly. So the caterpillar lives its life, and when it enters the chrysalis, those cells, they are called imaginal cells. I don't know if there is any more incredible way to call those cells than imaginal. You'll understand why. So these are the imaginal cells. And when the caterpillar is into its chrysalis phase, they activate and they start multiplying. Beautiful. The interesting thing is the other cells start fighting them. So they fight the becoming of a butterfly. And as they multiply, there comes a point where the imaginal cells outnumber the old cells, and the caterpillar and chrysalis can continue its growth into a full butterfly. And I think this has so many parallels. One very interesting parallel is with the esoteric tradition of Shiite Islam, where they have the notion of the imaginal world, which is somewhere in between the material world and the spiritual world and the world of the divine. And it's the world it's the in-between, where we have access to visions, to things that are just above our reality, but are still within reach, that maybe can guide us, that maybe can help us progress, that maybe can give us information. And I love that idea that there is a place that we can connect to, where we can have access to that future information or information that belongs to other planes, and that we can bring it here and use it and use it for our path. I hope it makes sense. So in essence, it's about accessing a different level of consciousness. And this is what this moon is allowing us to do, so that we can go through that metamorphosis. All right. And last but not least, that's a lot of information, isn't it? But this one is nice as well. We have a bonus, let's say, with a fixed star that is exactly conjunct the moon to the degree. Fixed stars are stars that appear fixed because they move 1 degree every 72 years, more or less. So they appear to be fixed. And they have the quality of beaming very, very fine and very precise energy and very potent energy. Imagine it's something very subtle, but at the same time very potent. And that's what they're giving us. The star that is conjunct the moon today is called Unqulay. In fact, it's an Arabic word that it's Unqul Hay, which means the neck of the serpent. So here we are once again with the serpent. And it teaches us that in order to access a higher level of consciousness, it is necessary to accept to die to oneself. One. It's also necessary to connect to the rhythms of nature, to Mother Nature, to balance our subtle energies. Because often we are intoxicated by our own thought forms, by our own history, by the things we carry, maybe even unconsciously, like, things that we inherited and that we might find it difficult to extract ourselves with or to let go of or to heal because it might be a lot of things. But this star helps us do that and advises us to connect to nature. Remember the Sabin symbol. The rabbit metamorphoses not into a spirit, it metamorphoses into a nature spirit. The connection to nature is really, really important. And I would say it's not just today, this moment, for this new full moon. I really believe this is part of the manual for the new earth. It's part of okay, this is how it's going to work. And yes, nature has incredible power of balancing our moods, our energies, our physiology as well. So this is what this star is telling us. It's also related to the Kundalini, especially like the Kundalini that is coiled in our base chakra, and it rises as we access more levels of consciousness. So it's still speaking to us about grounding, about anchoring really well that energy into here and now. So yeah, as an energy or that helps us access higher level of consciousness and advises us of what we need to do. It also requires that we gather the forces and stability to meet the guardian to that next level of consciousness. The passageway between the Scorpio and Sagittarius, the complete expansion, So, yes, the help of Sanat Kumara in the first ray with the power and will is going to be very helpful now. The end game being what? Accessing the inner temple. We're not going anywhere. We're not climbing in some other sky or whatever. The idea, the next level of consciousness is the next place in our inner temple until we reach the core of that. So that's it for the energies of this moon. I'm going to stop the recording for a second to see if there's any questions, and then we carry on. So let's ask the people of Agartha what message they have for us today. Sorry, I forgot to say something at the very beginning. Very prosaic and very down to earth. Several people have asked me or sent me messages saying, "Oh, can I invite this person to the meditations?" Of course, I'm doing this to help people. So whoever feel the desire to join and to be here and to listen, of course. So invite as many people as you want, and they can invite as many people as they want. The more the merrier. So you are all welcome. Okay. People of Agartha, what message do you have for us today? They're so incredible. They're amazing. The card is the inner temple. You see it? It's that seed that is growing leaves and flowers. So beautiful. Let me read to you. So this message comes from the ancient Toltecs, inner temple. Okay. The foundations of a new era, of a new civilization, of a new humanity can't be found anywhere else than in the human himself. By deploying all our internal resources, we have spread on Earth, in our time, a model of existence that is prosperous and holy, that inspired other populations on Earth. To create the new, you need to erect in your own temples, inner temples, and become inspirators, as in people who inspire others. We wish to remind you today that the bearers of new models of life must be the founders. If you want to see things coming out from Earth, you need to be the one who puts the seeds in. The key for ascension is connect to your deepest inspirations. No, sorry. Connect your deepest inspirations to your actions to see blossom what you hold within on Earth. That's a beautiful message. It reminds
Dounia,
me of something.
can you please repeat the ascensional code?
Yes, please. Yes, sure. Connect your deepest inspirations to your actions to see what you hold within blossom on Earth. And it's a very nice reminder of something that I wanted to tell you about the imaginal world and the imaginal cells. And I truly believe that we need imaginal people. And perhaps people who are here, who are listening, perhaps you are also an imaginal human that bears the blueprint of the future of Earth, and that our role is to express that and multiply, found our peers, so that we can group and reach, like in the caterpillar, and reach that threshold where then the entire body becomes something else. I'll show you the image again. There we go. I was meant to light a candle and I forgot, so I'm going to do that now. And talking about imaginal people, the community that I've created that some of you know about, which is called the Lighthouse, is exactly about that. This is exactly what it's made for. It's for the people who feel, who bear that blueprint to be together, to exchange, so that I can share things as well, and they can share between all of us. And it's a how do you say creuser in English? I don't know. That thing where you melting pot? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. That thing where you put the energies together and they blossom and they expand together. So Yeah, if you feel called, you can join, you can contact me and I'll give you the link or whatever. All right, let's go to the alignment. I invite you to find a comfortable position. Let me find the sound. Not sure I'm going to sing today. Still very hard for me. Even though since I've recovered my voice, I've been able to hit some weirdly high notes that I've never been able to hit, which is I think it's a good reward for the suffering that I've been through for a week. So, where we are we? We're here. Okay. Find a comfortable position, seated and with your spine vertical, please, because what we're going to do today requires that. And before I put the music on, I want to make sure that everyone knows where Bindu is. Do you know what Bindu is and where it is? For those who are not sure, it's so you have the crown that is here, but Bindu is slightly at the back. It's at the kind of, if you go straight behind, there's a little depression on your skull. So that's Bindu, and we're going to be using it. Okay? There's a little dip here around. I don't know if you can see. So it's not really the back, it's like the highest point somewhere here. Okay, now we can put the music on. It's very faint, but all right. Close your eyes. Make yourself comfortable. And take a few deep breaths. Just settle down to move away from the previous chapter of this encounter and find presence here and now. Take a deep breath in and exhale through the mouth. Release any thoughts, any tensions in the body, any emotions. A couple of more times. When you're ready, go back to normal breathing through the nose at the inhale and at the exhale. Gentle and soft. I want you to imagine yourself, to see, to feel that you find yourself in a beautiful forest. Take a moment to look around you and picture the forest. With abundant trees, birds, animals. And you find yourself on a path that you can see continues in front of you. And you take that path, start walking. As you walk, feel the earth under your feet. Hear the song, chirping of the birds, the wind playing in the leaves. Feel the temperature, just perfect, just warm. And you keep walking until you find a waterfall with a pool in front of it. You step into the pool, it's shallow, and you walk towards the waterfall. And you stand under the water. And you feel the water pouring over your head and your entire body, washing you, washing away all the things that feel like a burden, that feel heavy to carry. As you feel the water washing away all those things, you notice that intertwined with the stream, there's a white light, a white bluish light that pours down at the same time as the water, purifying you entirely. Allow that light and that water purify you until you find yourself lighter, perhaps more joyful, radiant. And when you're ready, step out from the waterfall, crossing it and going to the other side, where you find a very nice cave. It's peaceful, quiet, it feels safe. You can hardly hear the waterfall that is dimmed in the background. You sit there, close your eyes, and you focus on your breath. I want you to put your attention on your base chakra. At the inhale, you guide the energy along your spine, along your vertical axis, to the top of your head, to your crown. And when it reaches the crown, a lotus flower opens up. At the exhale, the lotus flower closes down. You guide the energy down to the base chakra. And start again with the inhale. Inhale, lotus opens up. Exhale, lotus closes down. Continue at your own pace. And at the end of the next exhale, just release your breath. Take a moment to check your state of being. Without judgment, notice how you feel, your body and your mind. Just observe. And now, place your attention once again on your base chakra. And this time, you're going to guide the energy to the front of your body, aligned with the spine, but to the front, going chakra by chakra. At the inhale, start at the base chakra, then sacral, then plexus, then heart, then throat. And at the throat, you start the exhale, placing your attention on Bindu, then your third eye, then back to your throat, through a passageway at the back, parallel to your spine, but at your back. Going down again, heart, plexus, sacral, back to the base chakra and looping to the front and up again with the inhale. Sacral, plexus, heart, throat. Exhale, send to Bindu, third eye, throat, heart, plexus, sacral, root. And you continue this loop, lighting up chakra by chakra, switching at the throat, the center of truth, and creating the infinity loop within. Go at your own pace. Being relaxed and precise. Continue for a few cycles. Take your last loop from the root chakra, . and ending it at the root chakra once again. And when you finish, release the circulation and allow images to rise up to your consciousness. It can be one image, 2, 3, or many more. Allow them to come forth and to float around you in your field. And pick one and see how you feel about it. And if there's something that you want to change, adjust it as you see fit. And when you feel completely satisfied, when it makes your heart expand and brings you joy, you release that image and let it in your field. Then pick a second one. And once again, see how you feel about it. And reshape it, adjust it, so that it reflects your true desire. And once it's aligned with your truth, just let it go. Take a third one and do the same once again. And when you feel ready, release it. And come back to your breath, noticing your state of being. And as you check in with yourself, imagine, see, feel a golden light surrounding you, penetrating your entire field, going into your body through your skin, into your tissues, your muscles, your organs, your blood, your bones, down to your cells. And once that light reaches the cells, this is where a spark happens. That's the cell resonating with the light it's receiving. And then that light starts expanding outwards, this time radiating from you. And become aware of that movement that feels like a breath of light through your entire body, receiving grace and golden light, and radiating grace and golden light. And activate with your voice, humming. I am the architect of my metamorphosis. I desire, I can, I am. Gently reconnect with your breath, with the present moment, with your body. When you're ready, you can start moving gently, stretching. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you very much for being here once again. I wish you a beautiful full moon, a beautiful Wesak festival, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye bye.